No, I was legitimately asking,
chewing?
like, yeah, I should ditch my gum.
You're chewing gum on a podcast?
This isn't the podcast.
It is now.
No.
Oh, we get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to their net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Get pucks on net.
Continue to put pucks on net.
Something about pucks on net and good things happen.
Pucks on net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
Live on tape from Geeta's apartment. Her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast. Let's talk about fantasy or fancy stats. We just gave away a blockbuster jersey. P-Mac's here. He's making a cup of coffee with Geeta's mug. What's that mug say, Geeta?
It says, don't mess with Texas?
That's very good advice.
Jason Spezza, right?
He got her that mug.
Speaking of Jason Spezza, you're right. Today is our BJGD.
That's probably the best and worst acronym that you ever dropped on me, but I think it's fantastic. Besser Jersey
Giveaway day.
Oh, a BJ Gad. Yeah, I thought it was something else, but hey, I digress. We got it at the couches today. I'm Ryan. I'll be your host for the afternoon. It's a brunch cast. It's Sunday. It's the Sabbath once again. Geeta, you're here.
Some people's Sabbath.
You're back on the show.
That's right. Thanks for inviting me to this one.
You're welcome. Yeah, to make yourself at home. P-Mac, you're here as well. How was traffic?
It's a fun drive into Vancouver on Sunday morning. You know, you got all those North Shore folks going, hey, it's a little bit sunny and brunch is calling. So we were all rolling in together this morning.
The after church crew.
I guess. Oh yeah, that's the other. Okay, well, there you go. So
growing up in Abbotsford, that was a thing we had to worry about, was the after church traffic.
After church brunch traffic.
And then then they would go to the prisons to visit their family because that's the two businesses in the town.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us wherever you got us from. Make sure
you had a special upbringing.
I think I came out of it pretty okay.
Okay.
I was describing to...
You would.
I want to thank you for joining us wherever you got us from. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PucksOnNetCA or PucksNetCa. No Dave this week, so I can't do the cause. And if you want to support the show, do you hear that?
Yes.
Had a bad mic cable there. So yeah, follow us on Twitter, PucksNetCA or PucksNetCon. If you want to support the show monetarily, you can head over to patreon.com/PucksOnNet. And we have a new donor to thank this week. Ragin Alpacas. This is a name I'm really butchering.
I haven't seen it, so
no,
I don't want to take a stab at it until I try to read it.
Alpacas.
I need to read things.
Yeah.
I can't.
Anyways, they pledged.
Thanks, Ragin.
They pledged $5. So regardless of how you pronounce your name or how we mispronounced it,
I'm
thank
so
you.
sorry if we've mispronounced it. Tell us, and we will say it again.
Thank you for backing pledging the show. And if you're thinking of pledging money on Patreon, now's the week. I mean, we're gonna watch Mighty Ducks after this, and we're gonna talk about it and watch the movie. And
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, well, don't we watch that every time?
We've tried to.
Oh.
We've literally the last 3 or 4 weeks we've tried to.
But you did it with Dave once, but we didn't do it, I think.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it
okay.
We're finally doing it. We're gonna do it properly after we have brunch.
If we can find the second one, we should do that. That's got a very Olympic-y
I feel
feel.
like
We already did the second one.
Did we?
It's
Did
on
we?
Patreon.
I thought we did the first one on Patreon.
You people.
We don't. We are not Patreon donors, Ryan.
Can't afford that stuff.
So we really appreciate you guys.
We're off to a hell of a start.
No, we're
this
off
week.
to a raging start.
A raging start here on the podcast. Speaking of raging, I don't want to get into this too much, but Canucks fans have been raging this week.
Yeah.
A lot about positivity.
Really?
Was that the fans, or is that? Yeah, I guess the fans got into it too. I was gonna say, Elliot, my old buddy Elliot Friedman, started a whole. My vacation buddy. We had pizza in Milan together.
Now, I don't want to get into it because Twitter, it's not, the fan reaction is not that fun to talk about.
You're also talking about Canucks fans on Twitter, which I feel like is like a very vocal,
angry,
polarized crew, as opposed to the general body.
I feel like I read somewhere this week that they are the worst group of fans on Twitter.
Yes.
The angriest.
And then they went, yeah, well, you think we're bad. How are you going to like us now?
It's a little bit of Trump-style whataboutery. Well, but Toronto is worse.
Are they?
I think everybody's equally bad. They're like, the Islanders fans are the worst.
I feel like Senators fans are getting worse, and they're taking things off Twitter.
No, they're taking it to the streets.
They're taking it to poster boards.
Yeah, they're taking it to arenas across Canada.
Their rage is more warranted. But I guess a lot of people upset about those comments, but it was a mix of like, there are a lot of rah homer, like, I don't care what anybody says or how the team does. Yeah. I'm a supporter of this team, which I totally respect. Like, that's part of the fun. But I also accept there's people that like to, from the outside, it looks like criticize. And there are people that criticize constructively. Mm-hmm. I would do this with the team, and that's fun for them. There's other people who are just jerks, and that's fun for them, that just say, like, mean things about people. That's where I'm like, okay, that's not my style. I can get why other people are offended by that. But if that's how they enjoy sports, let them do it and ignore them, block them on Twitter.
If you want to put your opinion on a sign and bring it to a Senators game or a Canucks game, go all for it.
But they will take it away from you, apparently.
Well, the guy, I was following these escapades, and we said on the show last week that there were fans that were getting ejected from the Senators' home games because
they just had the signs taken away.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I watched video of a guy getting bounced.
In Ottawa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, cut to last...
Well, I mean, if you're insulting the CEO or whatever
Lord
and Savior
that's his new title.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got those anti-Trump signs in America, they kick you out now, I hear. So, I mean, it's just standard practice.
Yeah.
So, anyway, at Rogers Arena on Saturday, I was following this on Reddit, and a guy had like a stack of Melnick out signs, and he was distributing them to people, and he was by the penalty box. There's another guy behind the... away bench. Now, I mean, sure, it's Mike Fisher's return back to hockey, so that's the Ottawa tie-in.
Right.
But why would you pick a Canucks Predators game on a Friday night to voice your opinion on Eugene Melnick, the wink-wink CEO of the Ottawa Senators?
He spent good money on those seats. He was going to take full advantage. Not to mention, he definitely probably appeared on a screen or somewhere.
If you're trying to take down a fascist dictatorship, you spread signs and awareness and literature
propaganda
wherever you can.
That's
Melnick right. Out. Got to
go.
They
were handing out some pamphlets. John Horgan and Kirk McLean were there.
Yeah.
Literally handing out pamphlets.
Eugene Melnick out of Ottawa. What do you say? He's got to go. Mr. Premier, I don't think this is the best use of your efforts and power. Oh, I disagree.
I've got this brand new Twitter update. Have you seen this? Just popped up.
No.
The government of British Columbia is buying the Ottawa Senators. They're not moving them. It's an investment like the teachers in Ontario and the Leafs.
Yeah, how the hell did I always loved that the Ontario teachers pension fund bought own the Maple Leafs.
Do they own them or they own a slice of them?
They owned a huge slice of them. Like they were the majority owner for like a really long time.
Man, union dues go a long way.
I know, right?
Should have gone into teaching.
In Ontario.
But closer to home, there's 32,000 people willing to pay deposits for season tickets in Seattle.
Do they have a 32,000 seat arena?
Yeah, they're gonna need a bigger rink. Jaws.
They're playing out a Citizen or a CenturyLink Field now.
Yeah, because once it got to 25,000, I'm like, really? Where are they all going to sit?
Are they going to play on top of a false aircraft carrier, though? That's the question.
Well, that's the trend right now. Like, if they could sell, why not? Why not have them play out a CenturyLink Field? Every game's an outdoor game.
It'd be a little wet.
It's a stadium series.
Safeco. They got a roof there.
Remember that footage from that AHL outdoor game where it was pouring rain? It was like they were skating on a pond, like a literal not frozen pond.
Yeah. That's the best things about outdoor games because you have the pond or you have the junior game in Buffalo this year where like somebody's stick broke and it sat on the ice and then there was just like a pile of snow over top because there was no whistles.
R.I.P. Will Lockwood, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's when we lost him.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he recovers from that. All the best, Will.
Yeah. So there's 32,000 people that want to pay deposits. They're like, it was night and day more successful than Las Vegas. And
Las Vegas was relatively successful.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, they got, 5,000?
Like almost
what
instantly.
they needed, yeah.
I mean, I imagine
within 48 hours or something.
Yeah, but you got to there's not a hockey rink or a hockey team within like 500 miles of that town. So it's pretty impressive, but I didn't expect that many Seattle Thunderbird fans would want to see the Seattle NHL Thunderbirds play hockey.
They were supposed to have an NHL team years ago, 1972.
Yeah.
So traffic into that city is just going to get worse?
Yes, especially when the 32,000 season ticket holders, like it's just going to be
all from Vancouver and are heading south.
Key Arena seats 10, 12,000 for hockey. I feel like
it's going to be with their renos where they basically hollow out the inside. There's supposed to be 17,000.
Okay.
Oh yeah, when the renos are done. So I guess that's going to be done before they take to the
they've
ice.
still sold like 10,000 more, 20,000 more.
I guess yeah. So it's going to be really tight in there.
Yeah.
So just don't.
A lot
I
of
hope you're not,
obstructed views.
Oh, I hope you're not claustrophobic. I was saying that the Seattle. Okay, so they're going to get the. Bettman was here
last week.
He was here last week because he announced that the draft next year will be in Vancouver. And then I like the joke I saw on Twitter where it's like, oh, Jim Benning, you wanted Jim Benning to go out and get draft picks? Well, he went out and got the whole draft. And he also talked about actually Black Ace Cole. He was he met Gary Bettman.
Okay.
They were parading him around, and he asked him if Seattle would get the same treatment as the Vegas, and Bettman confirmed that they would.
Oh,
so
he said that in the presser too. He said they're paying even more money than Vegas did. They better get the same treatment.
So they're just gonna put like the Nashville Predators in Seattle or something.
Here you go.
Poor Nashville had to build up to this for how many years?
Yeah,
25 years.
To this super perfect hockey team. It's like, here's the thing. You're playing in the Key Arena now. There's a lot of people in there, so look out. Watch on your belongings.
I was just going to say, this year, Vegas is going to knock them out in the conference final or something, and Nashville's just going to be like, what? Poyle has done this much for this long.
I would just call it. I'm done. Screw this. I'm going to go.
Flip the table.
Yeah, I'm flipping the table.
Man, Vancouver will never compete again.
Well, I was going to say, Seattle's team is going to be better than Vancouver, and they're going to have way cooler green and blue jerseys.
Well, they may be in a different division. We don't know that yet.
Yeah, Southeast, just for, until they balance it out.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if they can get the same value out of their draft.
Mm-hmm.
And Vancouver at that point, you hope, will be on the upswing.
Right.
You're like, oh, Brock will be getting like 75 goals a year by then, if his production increases steadily.
Well, it's a good thing Vancouver picked up a couple of guys they can give up in the expansion draft at this year's trade deadline.
Well, that's the thing. This is my glimmer of hope. That Seattle is going to need to get to that salary cap floor, and you know who's making a lot of money? He's hurt for the season, but he'll be back next year.
Which one? You're probably talking about Louis.
Louis Eriksson.
Is his contract even that long, though? Like 4 more years? They're coming in 4 years? He might be done the year they come in.
Oh, it's going to be 4 years?
It's not like...
next year? Oh, how long is it going to... Have you heard anything?
They're saying 2021, I think.
They're not
still a
hanging
ways
on
off.
to Louis just to give him up in 4 years.
His contract will be... I think he'll be in the final year or two. So if they don't... Yeah, if they don't waive him, they can buy him out. But... with all the people criticizing Jimbo, actually he has a new nickname. What is it?
Well, Benji is what he went by in the 80s. I'm not even joking. That was his nickname.
I
when he was a
believe
player.
it. It's not
High
that
Energy Jim is what some people are calling him on Twitter.
Are you just calling him?
No, that's one of the questions we got in.
Okay.
But everybody's really critiquing him because of what he did at the deadline and the extension and the good Branson deal. And they bring up a good point. Nobody really says anything about Louis Eriksson. We just kind of just accepted it as an afterthought, like, oh crap, don't get him, get him, please don't get him. Oh crap, they got him.
Yeah.
When he signed here, people weren't up in arms. He was coming off some decent play in Boston.
Yeah, he was a coattail rider though. Look who he played with, and then he expected him to play with the Sedins.
I all I'm saying is I don't think I would have given him that money in that term myself.
Yeah.
But at the time, people weren't freaking out en masse. people were much more upset about what they perceived as less value for Vanek than they should have gotten on Monday than anyone was.
You'd think, yeah,
in regards to Louis Eriksson signing originally.
You make a great point. Like there was blood in the streets based on the fact that Thomas Vanek was not worth a draft pick at a deadline deal, but Louis Eriksson gets the albatross contract, and we all as fans just kind of, oh yeah, that's too bad.
People have been complaining about that quite a bit too.
But the reaction compared to what we saw here last week is not the same.
But that's a slow burn. Like that's like, okay, we're not happy with this contract. It's 6 years long. We're not happy with it. But there's no reason to like freak out suddenly late in a season that doesn't matter. If anything, he's helping with the team tank effort. So there's a whole group of people that should love having Jussi Jokinen and Louis Eriksson on this lineup. That's what I did. I like Benji is committed to the tank now. That's what you get. No, honestly, that deal. First of all, the first deal on the deadline for the Canucks, I thought that was a great deal.
I love it.
They don't have depth on defense, but they've got a ton of bottom pairing guys. They don't have top 4 guys. They've got 2 top 4 guys, but not enough top 4 guys, not enough in the system coming up.
Yeah.
But they've got a bucket load of everyone from Goodbranson to Delzato to Hutton to Stetcher.
Okay.
They've got too many of these bottom pairing guys. They don't need that. Holm is gone at the end of the season in all likelihood anyway. And Leipzig is one of these Benji projects.
Yeah, he is the latest Portland Winterhawk project.
Another
too.
Portland Winterhawk,
okay.
too. I like Leipzig. At the very least, he's a bottom 6 energy guy. A lot of people started saying Marchand comparisons on the deadline day. That would definitely be like the sky. Like if he does everything right and stays out there with Besser and Horvat.
Okay.
I'm thinking like he's a very like Matt Cook type of guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's a good pickup for a depth defenseman.
an older Jake Vertanen. Come on.
Did someone say that?
No, but I've been saying for the last 2 years, ever since the pie problems, that Jake's going to be our Matt Cook.
Oh, okay.
Especially because he can go to the net so hard, but he can't score to save his life.
Right.
But he looks really good out there, and he's in great shape.
He's not enough of an agitator to be Matt Cook. That's why I think if Leipzig can pull back some of his junior days,
Okay.
Matt Cook was a great scorer as well, like Leipzig was in junior. Came in much earlier than they expected him to in the NHL, and was able to put in some goal. He filled in on that Bertuzzi line when Bertuzzi got suspended for the Moore thing. He can fill in your top 6, but you don't really want him in your top 6.
Yeah, it's like
he's
him?
a fill-in when there's injuries.
Is there nobody else available?
He's a good third liner though. I like that pickup. But then
All right.
yeah.
So here's the thing about Brendan Leipzig is people might be concerned because when Willie was coaching the Canucks, they brought in all the former Tigers, mainly Lyndon Vey, Emerson Edom, and now you're seeing the same with the Winterhawks in Derek Pouliot, Sven Berchi, and now
Brendan
Leipzig, and I mean not Goodbranson. Jim Benning, I believe, is a Winterhawks alumni too. I think.
Oh, that's before my time.
Okay.
So he's got, and Travis Green was all their coach.
Gotcha.
And the difference is the Winterhawks were like, or the Medicine Hat Tigers, like this rough and tumble bus league kind of team that was good, not great. They didn't win a thing. They were never good in the playoffs. They were just a junior team.
Yeah.
But the Portland Winterhawks were like a pro junior team, and well, that's why they got in trouble.
Elite.
They were elite. They were incredibly skilled. They went to the WHL finals 4 or 5 straight years.
Yeah.
They're really good. Like
it's
if they're not they're as professional as a junior team could get.
Okay.
And so you could make the comparisons that the Canucks are stacking it with a team or an organization they feel comfortable for.
Sure.
But it's a good organization to stack and feel comfortable for.
All right.
Seth Jones, come on down. You're the next contestant on the Portland Canucks.
Oh, P-Mac, are you turning the rumor mill
the
there?
Vancouver Winterhawks. They're never going to be able to price Seth Jones.
Do you know
Seth Jones is an amazing specimen, a defensive juggernaut.
He'll go to Minnesota for way too much money. Because that's where the other one
But
did.
if all his friends are here.
Well, he's from Denver, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an American. So the Winterhawks were really smart, and they would scout all the American ones because it's just, anyway, they know how to cultivate talent. So be positive about these Winterhawks.
Okay.
I feel good.
So that deal I was fine with. The Vanek deal, we joked a bit about it.
We've spent 3 weeks debating if he's worth something or not.
And you guys said he was worth nothing, so you
And
should
we
be
were
really
Right.
I honestly...
Paul was getting Seth Jones for him.
No, you guys said, I thought... You kept saying, like, and I'm like, no, they're going to get something for him.
They got something.
So here's the thing. Yeah, like, a lot of people are mad. Mott straight up for Vanek is kind of the type of deal I expected.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Benning, like, reclamation project prospect or a later pick, mid to late pick.
Okay.
The UC Jokinen's the part where I go,
He was free literally the night before.
I think he was a cap dump.
Yeah, no, it was a cap dump.
Yeah.
So that's where you go, like, they didn't need to dump that money. That was Benning doing them a solid.
Yeah.
So you'd hope he's like, you guys owe me when you see some of these deals that Vegas is doing right now to help other people. You hope this is like, because I think there should have been extra value for taking that salary. That's where the problem is. It's like, you really couldn't pick up a 7th round pick on top of Mott for being like, oh, I'll do you a solid and pay off the last $1 million of this contract.
Any draft picks, and those draft picks were like flying all over the place.
Well, that's the one topic for debate. Is he goes into the presser and says, "Oh, there were no picks available. He wanted
there were only picks available.
If your name's Thomas Tatar, they're throwing picks at you. We need that." And it's he talks like he's, and I hate that they just take every quote that those guys who need media training and they love to just riff. It's kind of like they're doing a podcast where they're just riffing. Oh wait, this mic's on and this is a room full of reporters. Oh shucks. But he goes, draft picks are gold are gold at the deadline or at the end for the draft. Like he wants to cultivate as many as you can.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't acquired a draft pick, and he got a 4th for Yannick Hansen, and like that's about it. Like he's not accumulating these. It's becoming a problem.
Yeah, he got a 4th and a mid to high range prospect in return for Yannick Hansen,
but there's no picks coming in here.
No,
the Rangers have 9 picks in the first 3 rounds or something next.
Well, they were selling a much better quality product than the Vancouver Canucks. Like that's the other thing. People go, they couldn't get any of those picks, even with a Thomas Tatar. Not a great season, but prior to this season, he's still a 40, 50-point guy.
Yeah.
They overpaid, definitely. Las Vegas did, in my opinion. But I can see why. It's a reputation thing as well. And you even talk about why is Vanek, or why you guys were saying Vanek isn't worth anything.
It's his reputation.
His playoff performance reputation the last couple deadlines has been subpar. So even though he's been better this year than Thomas Tatar is younger and has had some better seasons overall.
Yeah.
Looking at the bigger picture.
And Thomas Vanek is trade bait trash at the deadline.
Here's the thing with Thomas Vanek. I watched the first or second game he played in Columbus.
Now, hang on. Let me put a pause on that right there. So your top line of best friends is now centered by Matt Duchene.
I don't even know why I do this podcast anymore.
Left wing is Alex Burrows and right wing is Thomas Vanek.
I did not say that. That is Ryan's perception of what I think. If I don't think someone's complete garbage, Ryan assumes they're my favorite player. So when I play devil's advocate on this podcast, I get shat on. Sorry, shap on? What? It's shat with 2 A's. Anyway, the point I was trying to make, watching Thomas Vanek in, I want to say it was the first game he played as a Blue Jacket.
Yeah.
He was buzzing around the net. He was going to the right places, but the teammates didn't look like they were necessarily reading him, and he wasn't reading them that well.
Right. Okay.
And it reminded me all of a sudden of, what did Thomas Vanek look like early this season with the Vancouver Canucks? He just wasn't clicking. He didn't look bad necessarily, but it wasn't looking like a fit. All of a sudden, 2 months in, especially when he was filling in when there were all the injuries. And they had that top line of him, Gagne, and Besser because Horvat and Berchi were gone.
He was running so hot. There was talk of we need to re-sign him because his chemistry with Besser is so good.
I get the feeling Thomas Vanek is the type of guy that his teammates and he himself take a while to learn how to play with. But when you do, we've seen throughout his career, he's had moments of extreme success.
Yeah.
I wonder now if a GM hadn't been really scouting the Canucks, but why would you? There's not a whole lot there. But earlier in the season gone, we need to pick up Thomas Vanek in January. So he may struggle through February, but it's somewhere in late March. He gets the system, hits his stride, can play in the top 6. So he may flounder out. They might not even make the playoffs, the Columbus Blue Jackets.
No,
so
I
it could
agree.
look bad because Vanek will tail off here. and not even have a chance to pick it up in the playoffs. Even though I think Columbus has a good team, they will be making the playoffs consistently in a year or two.
Well, with Seth Jones there.
They're still a very young team.
Hey, he's on your defense as your favorite
I think
guy.
Thomas Vanek doubled their average age just by picking him up there at the end. Him and Cole going in there, they legitimately increased their average age considerably.
Average age 47 now?
Something like that, yeah. So Thomas Vanek could be an interesting guy this summer if anyone's actually been watching him.
According to this rundown, Vancouver is watching him.
Yeah, he likes Vancouver.
I could see him coming back, but I don't think Vancouver's the right market. He'd be great going in somewhere like Nashville and being in their bottom 6 power play specialist. Mm-hmm. And you limit his playing time and put him in positions to succeed, and he'll get you 45, 50 points on the cheap.
What you're saying is Thomas Vanek is not a deadline player. You want him to get him in around Christmas.
I'm speculating. Or you bring him in at the beginning of the year.
And GMs are smart, so they know that whenever he's been traded 50 times in the last 3 years, so they know that, he has no chemistry when he gets somewhere. Then he goes to a new place where he has a training camp, all those games in the season, and then by he's got those points ready to deal on the deadline. Why would we take a chance on him when he's going to have no chemistry with the team and give up a roster spot when we're already clicking? PMAC laying it in hot. I like it. No, that's a good way of thinking about it.
I think, if a GM with a winning team this summer takes a flyer on him, they may be pleasantly surprised.
That's not a raging hot take. That's just a raging good take.
And he probably, even if he makes more money this summer, it's not going to be big money.
Yeah.
2.5 max is what he's going to get.
Also at the deadline, because Jimbo was under scrutiny. So was Buffalo Sabres. Oh, what's his name again? Jason Botterill. He spent all season. They traded Evander Kane. Evander Kane went to.
Good for them.
Yeah, I was amazed they were able to pull it off. And
people keep picking him up.
I don't know what's going to happen with him.
That's an interesting place for him to go.
If there's the common easiest way to put it is he needs to go to a place where there's veterans and a core membership, a core team.
That's all there is in San Jose.
Yes, there's Jumbo and
there's a lot of youth there. But Jumbo Gandalf himself came to the airport to pick up. I can't wait to see Evander with a massive beard.
Jumbo picked him up?
Yeah, Jumbo went to the airport to pick him up, I heard.
Get out. That's awesome.
I don't know if that's true. I should have probably double-checked, but I heard that on...
And probably give him a good talking to.
Well, that's the thing. Here, we're going to have a talk in my car where nobody can hear. This is between you and me, and I'm going to tell you...
As he strokes his beard.
Yeah.
Here's some beard oil. Get started, kid.
And he's not wearing a shirt just to really intimidate. Oh, Joe, don't you need to be wearing a... Ain't no law about that. Actually, there is. But that'd be great if he did pick him up. And but no, if there isn't, that's the team that needs, with the core that needs to set the young. Evander Kane has a storied history from junior through Atlanta, through Winnipeg, through Buffalo of being a bit of a jerk who the teammates don't like.
Yeah.
Great hockey player, but off the ice he's a jerk. Mm-hmm. And if there is a core group...
He's not a jerk, he's misunderstood.
Sure. Or let's go with that. But I mean, he went to San Jose. Now, Botterill all season was saying we're getting a first round pick for him, we're getting a high prospect, and we're getting a roster player, like 3 or 4 items. And all season was, oh my God, who's going to give up that much for Evander Kane? And come the deadline, much like people with Thomas Vanek, where they go, man, maybe this is a bad situation getting a guy that could disrupt the flow or the chemistry like that.
Yeah.
He got a conditional first for him.
Yeah.
A fourth and some guy.
Okay.
And the deal is if Evander Kane doesn't sign in San Jose, it becomes a second.
Okay.
So you have this hotshot guy that was supposed to be worth the moon who could potentially be worth a second, a fourth, and a prospect. And people are very upset with that Sabres GM.
It'll be interesting to see how the Sabres do. Probably not this year, but next year. Are people going to consider this addition by subtraction, kind of like the Duchesne effect that we've talked about on the podcast in Colorado?
Yeah.
Different maybe personality traits that aren't meshing with fellow teammates, but sometimes moving a body like that will free up leadership holes to be filled by a Jack Eichel or someone like that.
And I feel like anywhere that Evander Kane has been, he's sort of been the biggest personality or becomes the dominant personality, and it might not happen in San Jose.
There are some big personalities on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But like it's like if they traded PK Subban for picks and prospects instead of an almost identical roster player.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. The other trade that happened at the deadline was Ryan McDonagh went to Tampa Bay.
That's a big one.
They traded a lot for him. And I was
JT Miller too.
But he's not even 30 yet.
No, and he's not. He's like they're getting him for the long haul.
Yeah.
But they gave up a first. Where is it right here?
Nemesnikov was the big piece, and he looked pretty good in Vancouver.
Right.
Well, I mean, they usually do. Like Mike Fisher looked like he had the game of his life in Vancouver. But
fair enough.
Nemesnikov, he did look fantastic, and that was a key part of that team. And we were saying last week, I was saying I think whoever tinkers the most with their lineup is going to have the biggest, is not going to win.
That being said, Tampa Bay was 6-4 going into the trade deadline, which isn't a bad record, but it's not Tampa Bay Lightning rest of the season record.
Their last 10 games should be 11 wins and 0 losses.
Something like that, But basically, McDonagh was their consolation to not being able to pry Karlsson out of Ottawa. That was the guy they wanted.
Yeah.
And McDonagh is a fantastic B option.
Yeah.
He's going to be cheaper.
He fits all their priorities and their
Former
criteria.
Rangers captain.
Yeah, they only trade Rangers captains.
And JT Miller, good pickup there as well. So, Nemesnikov's name came up considerably.
Right.
They deemed him expendable. I don't know if it's
I don't know why.
personality-based or just they've got a lot of talented offensive players in Tampa. So I can see, JT Miller coming in, slotting in. They really wanted another defenseman. And even looking at, Vancouver Canucks in 2011, thanks partially to Sammy Salo being injured all year, you've kind of got 5 or 6 guys that could play in the top 4 on a lot of teams. Keith Ballard's the 9th defenseman. He's at least a bottom pairing on most teams that year. Having depth on the blue line going into the playoffs is very important. And McDonagh's a great pickup for them.
Yep.
Are you worried that they have their depth at forward has diminished now that they've let go a guy like Nemesnikov go, who was playing on that? Like, he's got 46 points this year.
But with the youngsters they've had coming in, you got Point in the lineup now. You've got, what's the guy's name?
Gord.
Yeah, Gord's in there playing fantastic
Great
this
name.
year.
He should be playing for Montreal or something with a Yanni Gord.
Okay.
Yanni.
Anyway, but they've done fantastic work in Tampa Bay in building up depth, as successful teams do. So they've got the guys at the top, and then they've got these kids coming in. It's like the old Chicago Blackhawks model, where it didn't matter for 5 or 6 years there who they sent out. They've got bodies coming in and playing great.
And now they don't.
Well, I was going to say Chicago.
It's really bad.
Who did they move out though at the deadline? Do you remember? Hartman.
Hartman, yeah.
I
saw him this weekend.
Yeah.
I really like everything I've seen out of Hartman, and he's playing for Nashville, so he was just in town.
Yeah.
So I was talking in the room while we were waiting for
Right.
whoever came out after Mike Fisher. I don't even remember. Mike Fisher's just such a dreamy Southern drawl now.
Y'all want to talk to little old me?
Not quite.
Kind
Close.
of. I want to know the details of Carrie Underwood's new face.
Yeah, I think we all want to know what it looks like.
I didn't ask him about that. I'm sorry. I did talk to Mike Fisher.
Give me the mirror.
But Hartman is one of those guys in Chicago. I'm like, okay, well, there's part of your next wave. Start dealing veterans like the Rangers did. They're already selling on the downward slope, I think, at this point, if they start moving guys in Chicago.
He's on the up and up, and they're moving him to... I'm like, why would you move that guy?
Did get a first-round pick, but Hartman's playing well. And, as Benning says, you need those bridge guys so that you're not completely, tanking and bringing in kids. Hartman was one of the guys I assumed would be solid. So I don't know. I don't follow the Blackhawks closely. Maybe there's something else at play there. They just wanted a first-round pick because they're gold at the deadline. We'll see.
They're not making the playoffs. They're 14 points out of the playoffs. It's March 4th.
Chicago's... it doesn't help that they don't have a goalie right now.
Oh, it's bad.
So
it was going to catch up.
Anyway, that was a big win, I think, for Nashville to come out with Hartman. That's why a guy like Vanek maybe doesn't get you as much, because I did think Nashville's the type of place, they're going to add another forward or two.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even think, or most of us wouldn't assume a guy like Hartman's available. So they would have been kicking the tires on vets to join Fisher as like last minute additions.
They're looking in the irregulars bin at winners, and all of a sudden, hey, you want this brand new? All right.
But at best you might get like that Ilya Kovalchuk bobblehead I pulled out of the bin at the hobby store a few years back.
Really? What'd that go
Atlanta
for?
Thrashers.
Oh.
I think I paid $5 for that. It's broken.
It bobbled a little too much.
Another guy coming out of the bargain bin possibly next year, Ilya Kovalchuk. Rumors he's coming back to the league because his
check the OAR. He wants an NHL deal.
His Devils commitments are up. Oh, he can actually come back as a UFA next year.
Oh.
To Vancouver.
That would be something.
I was gonna say Edmonton, but
there's the hot topic of would you rather's on That's Hockey and Sportsnet whatever is because Lucic hasn't scored in 26 games or whatever,
right?
And Louis Eriksson's terrible. That a change of scenery deal for them.
Oh,
Eriksson goes to Edmonton and Lucic comes home.
Because that makes the world of sense.
Well, I mean, when you get players like that, sometimes the best option is just trading them to see, attempt to throw some matches on this fire that's been put out.
Maybe it's because I bought the Endy mattress on the internet.
Yeah.
You get 100 free nights.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, they'll come pick it up. They want you to try it.
Except Lucic doesn't come with 82 free games.
Let's say 20 free games. They do a deal, and then if they don't like it in 20 games,
they can trade them back.
Right back, no questions asked.
I mean, if you're already moving big contracts back and forth, does it really matter?
Those should be the conditional trades that the NHL allows you to make.
What, a return policy?
Yes.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
Can you imagine? That would be a game changer. I don't like Thomas Vanek after these 20 games. I'd like to return him.
Yeah.
You can do it at the deadline.
Well, it's on the CBA.
Well,
I got to
that's
do
the thing.
it.
You don't know what kind of chemistry people are going to have, but now you have a chance to find out.
And I didn't know if I'd like that mattress, but I had 100 nights. I knew I liked it after like the 4th night.
I better get one of those.
It's really good. I'll give you my code. Hey, if anybody listening wants to buy an Endy mattress, I got a code where you and I both make money. They're not sponsoring the show.
But they could. They sponsor other podcasts.
Yeah.
Or do they? I think their competition.
They do a Casper. There's another one.
That one named after a ghost.
Ooh.
All right. So, yeah. Anyway, Chicago,
not so good.
Nashville, good move.
My team, actually, I love, and of course, the last team we're going to talk about is Winnipeg, who nobody expected them to go and get Paul Stastny. Now, most of us forgot about Paul Stastny because he plays for the St. Louis Blues.
Right.
And he was in their depth, and they got him for a first, a fourth, and somebody else.
I thought it might have been a little steep, actually, because Stastny is a good player, but
when you play in St. Louis,
he's secondary offense.
You disappear.
Yeah, and he's American, and that's where American players go to die.
Well, he and Blake Wheeler are good buddies.
And how about...
I mean, that team emerges in the playoffs. They're like, surprise, we're here.
I know, you don't hear about the St. Louis Blues all year, and then you have Pierre McGuire going, oh my God, the depth in the Blues organization, they're going to go all the way, and they lose in 6.
Ryan Miller back there, he's going to be a wall.
He is a wall. Whammo! Double Dion, etc.
Ryan Miller needs to play behind a bad team, though. I think that's what we've learned. He needs to feel like he's taking the full burden and responsibility. If he's not in Buffalo or Vancouver, he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll take care of it. The D will take care of it. Yeah, I think we got Pronger and Niedermeyer up in front of me.
He doesn't play
really
for Arizona. They got Datsuk. They got Pronger.
I was making an old joke about the Ducks, and he's old and doesn't even know who's in front.
I like it. It's a good joke. We were both trying to make zingers. That was pretty good.
Thought I had to explain myself, so I knew it was a bad joke.
No, it took me all the way back to 2005.
But yeah,
I'd like to say that you have your favorite guy team. With now has Thomas Vanek. One of my favorite guy team.
That's my favorite guy team?
Duchesne,
Columbus Blue Jays. Oh.
Burrows. My favorite guy team is slowly, it's definitely got Blake Wheeler on it.
Okay.
He's becoming one of my favorite captains in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what his Twitter handle is?
I don't know, Wheeler69.
Biggie Funke.
What?
Why, from
Arrested Development?
Why Big E?
like Biggie Smalls, but Biggie Funke.
Oh my god,
it's an
that's
amazing handle.
That's up there with Chuck E. Cheese.
I think that's better.
All right, I like. Yeah, you might be right.
Chuck it just fell into his lap. This was one where he had to go. Arrested Development, Biggie Smalls, I assume. I like these things. Let's just put them together. Blue Man Group. The Jets. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm a genius. That's Blake Wheeler's train of thought when he was joining Twitter.
Now I have this mental image of hockey players coming up with Twitter handles. Okay, my name is Ryan Kessler, but I'm the real one, so I'll put the real. Oh, that's taken. The real _. Right. Okay. Now they're going to know it's me.
17.
Let them know.
His backup was going to be Guzzler 69, but it didn't go over well. I think didn't Kevin Bieksa pick that one up at some point? That's what he is now?
Yeah,
Guzzler 69.
His Ducks Twitter handle, Guzzler 69. That's his password, capital G. Blake Wheeler's becoming my favorite captain and probably one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
When media was... we forgot to talk about it last week when media was hyping up the team and what are you going to pick up for a deep run in the playoffs? He's like, we haven't even made the fucking playoffs yet. Like, pump the brakes. Like, he's got that great mindset, and I absolutely love it. I can imagine he was right behind Buff throwing tracksuits in the shower. That's I'm thinking who's in there. Brian Little probably too. But he wears 26, which Paul Stastny wears, which his old man wore in Quebec.
Yeah.
And as team captain, as soon as Paul Stastny was traded, he contacted him. It's like, you can have 26 because I know how important it is to your family. And Paul Stastny, being pretty cool, was like, no. I'm not like that Mark Messier guy. I'll wear 25.
I'll wear 11.
Yeah.
I was going to make a Messier reference. I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
He took 25, yeah. So, good pickup for the Jets, though.
Love it. And they're saying now that the Jets have the best top 9 in the league right now.
Okay.
And I would love to see them go, deep again. Although they would play, depending on how they would finish and how good the Central is, you'd think that they would play Nashville in...
Right.
It's a possibility.
In the first round.
Which would be an amazing
exciting.
matchup.
Yeah.
The winner of that could very likely go to the finals.
No, the winner of that will go right to Seattle, like we said earlier in the show.
Ouch. Sorry, Winnipeg. We like to rip hearts out of your chest multiple times. That's Gary Bettman. That's what he said at that presser this week, too.
Yeah. Oh, Alex Edler is the all-time leading Canucks defenseman.
In points.
And I don't think...
When did that happen?
At the game you were at.
Well, I mean, yes, but when did he accumulate all these points?
He got 48 one year, and then that's the most of it right there. I don't know how it happened.
Well, if you remember, the reason why some people in Vancouver don't like Alex Edler is because for a long time, everyone touted him as the next Nick Lidstrom.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's been a letdown because he wasn't Nick Lidstrom, but no one is Nick Lidstrom.
Not even Nick Lidstrom is Nick Lidstrom. He's so good.
He would have told you. He would have been, oh, no, I just give 110%, do whatever I can.
No way, I'm Nick Lidstrom. That is who you are. I'm not that good.
He was a humble guy, but
I'm just Erik Karlsson good.
Edler kind of got it just because he's been here that long. He's played more games than almost anyone as a Canucks defenseman. And you don't think of it because he started here as a youngster.
Yeah.
And he's a quieter kind of guy.
Right.
He is a top 4 defenseman, but he's probably on a good team like second pairing.
Yeah.
But he's been here a long time, and he's consistently been okay as far as a good defenseman.
I was happy for him.
Yeah, he usurped Matthias Olin, 326 career points, all with Vancouver.
Olin's another guy that when he had the record, I don't know, a lot of people would probably be like, Olin. He put up good numbers, but he wasn't like an offensive juggernaut other than a few good seasons.
No, and he probably would have had more points had he, not gotten hurt.
Vision.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, Alex Edler should have to get twice as many points as Matthias Oland because he did it with one eye. And Alex Edler did it with 2. So, I mean, really, how do these fancy stats should play this out where, Alex Edler's still 300 away from setting the proper record.
If he would pass that puck to Brock Besser, how many points he might have today.
He does that now. He's learned. I've seen.
He's learned, but he's not great at it. There was a moment in the game on Friday against Nashville where he's lining up for this giant slap shot and Brock's just sitting there ready for it. And he has all the time in the world to tee it up and right into the shin pads of some pred, break away the other way. But I love being in the crowd because this happened on Wednesday when I watched him lose to the Rangers. It's just, if there's a power play and they're set up, everybody in the crowd is just like, just pass it to Brock. Don't do anything else.
I've been hearing some shoots lately in the crowd too, but yeah, it's between
was that the Edler
shouting
family?
Besser or shoot.
Yeah,
they don't come from Sweden. They're busy at the Moto game or whatever.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
not from. I can't even pronounce the name of that city.
Oh man, I think we've talked about all this stuff.
That's great.
Let's go into these questions here.
Was there any Bergeron hurt right now? Just briefly, and McAvoy went out too. So
that was right.
They needed that depth pickup of Nash.
Yeah, I feel bad for Boston because they went out and got old man Rick.
Right.
And then, two very key pieces of depth go down hurt. And Bergeron, they don't know. It's like 2 weeks.
I think it's a fracture, though, isn't it? So it could, even if he comes back early, he might not be the same, even going into the playoffs.
They're going to evaluate it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So unless he, glues up his fractured bone, which I hear you can't do, he's going to have to rest it and let it heal. But they were touted to be terrifying and face Toronto inevitably in the first round. And
They're only 3 points up, I think, for home ice advantage on the Leafs. So that injury could be the difference between home ice, and who knows what difference that really is, depending on the year. But Toronto could get an extra home playoff game out of it.
I'm sure Leafs fans were very happy about this.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're very concerned and lit a candle for Bergeron as well, because that's their B team in Toronto, right? They love the Bruins, just like they do in Montreal.
There was an outdoor game yesterday.
Yeah, random in March.
I'm losing track. So I think it was a couple
in Maryland.
Was it Maryland?
And didn't they have a military parade before where they ran some nukes by the stadium and Trump did some nice salutes?
No, it was a combination of both naval forces. They celebrated the Canadian and the U.S. naval forces, so it was kind of endearing.
Yeah,
it wasn't too rah sisk boom ba.
Okay,
I don't mind that stuff. Although I thought it was weird. They had some kind of aircraft carrier design on the field around the rink. Apparently,
yeah, there was that. And when the Capitals scored, a jet would kind of take off, which the Jets should have been playing. Let's be honest.
Can you imagine though if the KHL did an outdoor game and they put a rink on top of an aircraft carrier? What kind of attention that might get from a political standpoint? It makes you kind of go, this is now. Is this the best way to be promoting the NHL?
That sounds like something that the Canadians would do on their aircraft carrier. Literally freeze it and play hockey out there.
Well, that would be a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That'd be a feel-good piece.
Because then the bay doors can't open if it's frozen shut, so you can't launch your nukes. So it's the opposite of flexing your military muscles. But
there's definitely a double standard based on what country you're from.
The fine line there between celebration of the armed forces and
well, there wasn't a nuclear. They weren't the Capitals score nuke. They
missile
just
goes over
and then missile testing.
Woo!
God bless America.
Anyway, I just thought it was kind of an interesting imaging decision.
You want to talk about interesting imaging decisions? You couldn't see the goddamn Toronto Maple Leafs; they were invisible.
Well, my mom's got a 12-inch flat screen TV. It's the Michael Scott special.
She was watching on her iPhone.
It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger than my iPhone. So I was stopped at my mom's place yesterday, and from halfway across the room, I just saw these little blue kind of stripes on the ice, and that's how you could tell where the Leafs were. But I couldn't make out the players.
It's funny you say that because my mom messaged me on Facebook going, "What's with the Maple Leafs jerseys? Why are they all?" I'm like, because they want to just fuck with us. I think they've done so many outdoor games, and it's the same thing every time. They're throwing weird curveballs just so we'll be talking about it. They announced very far in advance that they're going to wear all white, including white trousers, pantaloons, and everybody thought they're going to blend into the what's wrong with pantaloons?
Nothing.
Loon. I believe it's pantaloon.
That's a bird.
All right.
And
looms are something you make the pantaloons with. Anyway,
they're woven.
I like white hockey pants. I'm one of the 6 people who do, but that was just tough to see on the ice.
Yeah,
it was so. And I was watching on a giant TV, and I'm like, "What is this? Like what was the decision making in that? And then Washington had weird.
Okay.
They kind of look like the Zellers jerseys.
Oh.
I didn't mind the Washington jerseys. They're maybe not the best, but I'm fine with those.
All right.
And they lost. The Capitals won. It was their 4th outdoor game. The Blackhawks have the record. They have 6.
Yeah.
And they're not in one this year. Like they were in one.
Because they're no good.
They're terrible. Yes.
I heard the Leafs were furious because this game was scheduled after the trade deadline, and they were unable to move Freddie Anderson after losing this game because that's what you do. When you I guess they should have put him on the bench. That was the problem. Trade your starter.
Oh, poor guys. Let's go to some questions from Twitter here.
Right.
Matt Fallman, longtime listener, Patreon backer. It's been a week, but who do you feel won the trade deadline with their acquisitions play during this week? So you talked about Leipzig and Vancouver, Vanek.
It's hard to judge this week because McDonagh has been out for a month.
Yeah.
Like that was an interesting part of that trade too, where they must have checked in and trusted the doctors, and they've made deals with the Rangers before.
I watched a lot of Montreal play Boston on Saturday. I thought Rick Nash looked pretty good. He got a goal. Or no, he set up a goal, but he's a good acquisition, and based on what's happened, that's a good win. I don't think Columbus had a lot of weird pieces. So I mean,
well, they picked up some vets. It was kind of like Toronto with Plekanec, where they felt they could use some veteran leadership. I think, and they got such a bargain on Thomas Vanek, you couldn't not make that deal. But they were trying to add a little playoff experience, especially when you look at a guy like Cole, where he's probably not as big a difference maker, or has he ever been that big a difference maker, depending on who you ask. But he's played a lot of playoff hockey in his career, so I like what Columbus did in that sense, because if they do make the playoffs, a little veteran leadership isn't a bad thing to have.
Nashville looked pretty good too. They somehow had Rick Nash, a bunch of plugs, and they sat all the good guys against the Canucks on Friday.
Rick Nash?
Sorry, Mike Fisher.
Fisher scored in his return too. That's not necessarily a trade deadline pickup, but it's an addition.
He went 10 for 10 in the faceoffs too. He was one of the best players out there.
It was kind of a weird goal, but good awareness for him to just put it potentially on net. But the Hartman pickup, as I said, I really like what Nashville did just with that trade alone.
Yeah.
Detroit being able to unload Tatar for what they got. The Rangers selling high, getting so much back, and they still look like a pretty good team in my opinion. You want to talk about retool? They're the type of team that could legitimately retool and still come out with a bunch of high draft picks.
Yeah.
So I like what they were doing. Great to see Glenn Sather and Ty Ronning have a moment upstairs when the Rangers are in town too.
Ty was there?
Ty was there with his dad.
Of course he was. Probably a good meal that night.
The Rangers are in town, so they usually hook up prospects with tickets. Other teams coming in if their players play for Vancouver especially. But they randomly ran into each other at the elevator, and Glenn was just like, he kind of brushed past. He said hi to Cliff, but I mean, he went for Ty. It wasn't about brushing off Cliff. It was, I know Ty, and it just great season you're having this year, kid.
And he is.
Keep up the hard work. And it was a nice little moment to see, a kid like that coming into a system with one of the most storied management figures in NHL history.
Yeah.
And he knows these guys, even though he's not the full-time GM anymore, but he knows who these kids are.
Yeah.
And that's that business side of being a GM, or where you have to have those relationships and reach out like that and know who your prospects are and have that impact on them.
And keeping guys like Sather around in roles that they can fulfill when he's, past, like Pat Quinn sticking around the game. It's good to have some of those bodies just to sort of have stability, but not give them too much responsibility in their senior years.
They need a guy like that in Arizona.
They need a guy like that in a lot of cities. But Vegas overpaid. So I like what they got. And Tampa, I wanted to say Tampa, I like those pickups. And they got to be the favorites going into the playoffs. You got to think out of the East.
I don't agree with you.
Who's the favorites? Boston,
Nashville, or Pittsburgh?
Nashville's not in the East.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
I'm putting all my. I could put some money. Huh? Sweet action.
I like Pittsburgh too in the East. So
follow-up question from Fallman: Oland, Edler, Salo, Lume, or Babbage? Who has the biggest spot in your Canucks defenseman heart? And we bring this up because, as we said earlier, Edler surpassed Oland.
Right.
And if we're talking about all-time favorite defenseman, I might go with lovable Sammy Salo.
Okay.
He was one of the few Canuck defensemen that could really run that power play.
Yeah.
He was always hurt, But boy, was he old.
Can you imagine if he had not been injured so much? He would have had twice as many points.
He'd have like Paul Coffey points.
Yeah. Salo at his best was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And he was right in that sweet spot for me where I was like aware of what good hockey was as opposed to being a kid when I watched guys like Babbage and stuff. And I more idolized players at that point in my hockey fandom. So it might be Sammy Salo.
Geeta, what about you?
I would go with Matthias Ohlund.
He is quite lovable.
Yeah.
And
Ohlund was the first Canuck I ever, or any NHLer I ever got to interview, and he was nice enough to talk to some dumb BCIT students for as long as he did.
No, because that's the thing. He was like, he probably played his rookie year like when I really started to care.
97 or so, yeah. And he was consistent, and when they were good, he was really good, and when they were bad, he was still okay.
And Swedes are so nice.
Him and Matt Cook and Artem Chubarov in that Messier era, oh, those kids.
Yeah.
One other question here. Tim Tremaine asks, who's more envious of Brock Besser's hair, Zach Kassian or Ryan Getzlaf? Two of the balder individuals in the league. Geeta?
Zach Kassian, because Ryan Getzlaf still has like a good face.
Okay, he's not. He is a handsome man.
By saying that, though, it's kind of mean.
No, but if you do like a Google search of Ryan Getzlaf circa 2005, he was a very good looking guy.
He had his frosted tips. He was the pride of Calgary.
Yeah, like when he played that World Juniors, he was hot.
He's kind of got a Bruce Willis thing going on. I feel like he's figured out his look. Alex Auld, another guy. Never really had hair in his pro career from his early 20s, but got a good look going on.
Yeah.
I feel like Zach needs to figure out what he wants to do with his look, and I'm thinking Ally Frady.
Yeah.
He needs to grow out that skullet. I think Zach would look amazing with a skullet. I'm just saying.
My parking's about to expire. Well, that's fine.
I know. Paul came in, souped in, and asked for the visitor stall.
One other I would say Ryan Getzlaf because he's prettier, but also has a Stanley Cup ring, Olympic gold, and Zach Kassian's got a Windsor Spitfires Mem Cup ring riding Taylor Hall's coattails. So advantage in the bald men, we got to give it. I guess Zach Kassian would be more envious of the hair.
Right.
Because that's the question, because he'd need that because he doesn't have a face. Getzlaf can get away with it.
He wouldn't look good with Brock's hair anyway, though. Like I said, Ally Frady, Zach, if you're listening, own it. Just own it.
And what was this? Yerky21 asked, if not for money from official sponsors of various teams' power plays, i.e. This power play is brought to you by Image Optometry, would those teams just not get power plays? This seems unfair.
Yes.
I really hate when they say that this power play is brought to you, because that was an American thing, like in Nashville, where your Nashville Predators are on the that's a Budweiser power play, because you would have to tell the fans what the game was, and that slowly seeped into Canada as a way to just make
money.
So I really hate that. So I would hope that they got rid of that, and then there'd be no power plays.
But wasn't there like a Safeway? Didn't Safeway sponsor?
That's Score and Win.
Oh, okay.
And I never win it. I'm getting really pissed off because I shop at Safeway.
It's interesting sponsoring things like power plays, though. I relate it to like a lot of local news now will have sponsored segments, and it always feels so greasy to me when they're like the whatever auto repair center's weather report, which weather, okay, but like I'm worried it's going to be like, and now your daily homicide report brought to you by
the Koch brothers.
Anyway, Ryan said that, but it makes sense.
Making a good point. I think that's about it.
All right.
We'll wrap up there because we're running late. So I want to thank you for joining us. How do I end this show up? That'll do it for this week's show. If you want,
got it. Melnick out.
I still have to do plugs. Oh, we forgot to say the other part of the contest. We want to thank again Mike Scallon. He won the jersey. He gets a fancy box with it, and I'll ship that out to Vermilion, Alberta. I'll ship it out.
We have no idea where that is.
And it's somewhere. It's out near where Nickelback's from, I imagine. I'm going to ship that out personally.
I've got family from Alberta. Let's not insult Alberta.
I lived there for 7 years. I can insult it all I want. You can. I'm going to ship it out. I'm shipping it out Tuesday.
Could we send him a bottle of BC wine? Is that still illegal?
No, it's going to get flagged.
They've come to a.
I tried, Mr.
They've come
Shallon.
to some sort of agreement.
Yeah. So, and we also, the other part of the contest was whoever had the most creative or the...
Yes.
His entry was really good, too.
Yeah.
I want to say if he hadn't won the jersey, he would have been in our judgment portion.
Yes, we before the show, we all discussed which entries we really liked. And he posted a really good video where he just said the podcast reminds him of home.
Yep.
And so if he didn't win this randomly, the random contest, he would have likely won that.
He was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That was a heartfelt video. There's so many good entries, though. Like,
Right.
when you were like, oh, we got to pick somebody now, I didn't really want to because I want to give them all jerseys.
Well, we love Squampton's NHL 100 parody video.
Oh, that was
Right.
good.
Fallman's Crow jerseys.
That was beautiful. If you had printed some of those up, you would have.
Yeah, like-
I would have sent you as many jerseys as you want.
For
No,
us to
I better
wear.
not make commitments like that. I can't. I'm semi-employed at the moment.
Hey, me too. So we loved all the entries, and the whole point of the contest was basically to spread the word of the show, and
Right.
you did that, and we really thank you for that. And I couldn't think of a better way to use the Patreon dollars for. Although I'm gonna need a new microphone cable, so that's where some of the Patreon bucks will go.
That's why. Yeah, equipment's always gremlins and such.
But our Hawaiian superfan Chels, she hand cut out with like construction paper or something, two crows talking to each other, and referenced my dispute with the puck printers where they wanted to make our pucks in San Jose teal, and I was like, no, that's not the color. It's Vancouver Grizzlies turquoise. So she cited that, and so she gets a Canucks jersey of her choosing. So we'll get a hold of you for sizing. And
It's very crafty. I
I
liked it.
I like that. So thank you everybody for entering, and maybe we'll do another one down the road. Who's to say? But if you
Thank you everyone for your entries.
Yeah,
honestly,
thank you.
that was unexpectedly heartwarming things I'd see pop up.
it was, yeah.
In my Twitter feed, especially the ones
Thank
that
you
tagged
to-
me.
To
saw a
everyone
lot
who
of them.
took the time to, get creative with this.
Yeah. So I also want to say, if you still want to support the show, patreon.com/pucksonnet. Ragin' Alpacas. I hope we're... you can listen to us watch Mighty Ducks after we go for lunch. What am I reaching for?
Oh, we want to see the name.
Just wrap it up. Just,
Yeah. You just wrap it up.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's on.
No, I wrote it in hand printed there.
It's Raging Alpacas.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
Ryan, I think Ryan, English is a second language. Don't worry, guys.
Why don't you go
He needs-
subscribe on iTunes? And,
He needs some breakfast and more Patreon money, folks.
Patreon.
He needs that money for that surgery. Sorry.
iTunes, go leave a comment with a positive 5-star review. We got a couple in this week. Those really help the show. You don't want to give us money. You can also go, subscribe just about everywhere. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, and you got.
It's time for a meal.
It's time for 5 minutes for paying, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, then we'll.
Even though we're already giving them in Patreon?
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah.
See you later, folks.
All right,
We got to
bye.
hurry this up so I can get some chicken and waffles.